Hey, peace world. Had to jump in. I know fight week is going on. A couple of different situations right now. This weekend on ESPN, we have Lomachenko versus Richard Comey as in the main event. And then also over on the zone, we have Connor Benn against Christopher Algieri. And then Katie Taylor is on there against Sharapova. Uh, the little bit on the title about dose of reality. I've mentioned this before. I'm a huge undercard guy. I can take or leave a lot of these main events for whatever reason or another. Not that we haven't had some good main events lately, but I like to see what's in the pipeline. I like to see what the future could hold. Shout out to Jared Anderson right here who fights this weekend. And I just think it's been several fights recently that I was kind of big on or bearish on, and had a lot of enthusiasm towards. And a lot of those fights really just haven't delivered lately. One that comes to mind immediately was El Rey Martinez against McWilliams Arroyo. And it started out as a smoker. McWilliams caught Martinez off guard, dropped him, had him hurt bad and dropped him. And then Martinez roars back and drops him once or twice in the first round. And I'm like, oh, this is about to slap. And then in the next round or whatever, we get a no contest. So that was a big downer. But it's been a couple other fights here and there on the undercards that really just didn't come off. We did get to see the debut of Tiger Johnson a couple weeks ago. We didn't see I was all excited to see the return of Austin Williams last week, Ammo Williams, against Quatavius Cash. And that wasn't on the live stream. You had to watch it on Matchroom Boxing's YouTube channel. And there was a weird stoppage. The referee and Cash went down together. Cash got up first, and then the referee gets up and waves the fight off. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? So even if, the stoppage with Kenny Porter, intervening in the final in the 10th round after Sean Porter was knocked down twice. This past weekend, the main event with Devin Haney and JoJo Diaz. That really wasn't a star-making performance for Devin Haney, in my opinion. It's a good win. But I learned some things and whatnot, but that really didn't warm things up and for the kid. So I guess with a dose of reality, what I'm saying is really I gotta really salute George Kambosos Jr. a few times. I mean, that little victory, that little coup de grace of his really has opened up a lot of things and really provided some energy around the sport. And for at least for the through the end of Saturday night, we get to see kind of what happens now that all these titles are out here without this guy who really has a network home. So we really get a chance. I know people complain about promoters, complain about the promoters they don't like certain networks, so on and so forth. They don't like. I know all of that happens, but right now, with Kambosos getting this fight, we really should be watching to see who is doing whatever they need to do, not who they need to do. We really get a chance to see which one of these businessmen is really out here making moves and trying to make that fight for their lightweight. I know it might look like Eddie Hearn has the inside track, being that he has a relationship with Devin Haney, and he's been kind of like courting Kambosos. He's been at the last two fights and whatnot. So it looks like he might have an inside track to that. Him and Haney and Kambosos could come together conceivably or in theory for an undisputed fight at lightweight. However we want to chop up this damn WBC franchise title and regular champion, the title that Devin Haney has. But it's not an open and closed case though. You know, Tank got his win against Isaac Cruz. However you want to chop up that decision, he comes out as the winner. And then he relinquishes his 130-pound regular WBA title. So he's staying at lightweight. Does Mayweather Promotions want to get involved? Not likely, but the person who gets the deal done, we know that the other guys were kind of full of shit. That's how it works. Now, like I said, Devin Haney might not be looked at as the strongest guy at 135 or the most formidable of the elite guys at 135. And he has this WBC title. So maybe, you know, that's enough to make it happen. Does Devin Haney want to travel to Australia to make that work? Can they make it work here stateside? What happens with Teofimo Lopez now that he's waiting around to see how the chips play out? Lomachenko going against Commey this weekend. I'm not really down on this fight. And I gotta continue I don't know if the numbers are there for ESPN, the viewership numbers. I don't know if it's working the way that it needs to work for some people to be all ecstatic about this and to see heavier investments into boxing. For me personally, I like that I can check out Lomachenko on a Saturday night on ESPN. And I think Commey is an interesting opponent because I still feel like Lomachenko is a smaller guy up here fighting bigger men. Commey is bigger, has decent. Commey is a killer against C fighters, maybe B- fighters. Commey is a beast. It just seems like when he goes against A-level fighters is where he runs into problem. But I think seeing what he did to Jackson Marinez, who looked like he had some good skills boxing-wise, and for Commey to bust him up the way that he did. What's up, Latour? How you doing, Chief? And Commey, this is like the last straw for him. Like, this is probably the last meaningful fight where he's just not coming in kind of like as the gatekeeper journeyman guy. This is a real opportunity for him to reestablish himself in the mix. So I like that he has the skills that he has, the power that he has, the size and range that he has and all of that. And it's a good looking fight to me. Lomachenko beat down Nakatani. I didn't expect that to really play out the way that it was. I know we've kind of been up and down with where we how much we believe in Lomachenko. Is he an all-time great? Is he this? Is he pound for pound? He got beat by Orlando. Can't think of my man's name. So he's not perfect, but I want to see I want to see this fight Saturday night. Then also we get to see Jared Anderson in action again. We also get to see Xander Zayas, a youngster. I thought he's 19 years old. Dude can box his ass off. He's got good size, all-around fighter. He can bang, he can box. Solid defensively, good energy. Handsome kid, good smile on him. Puerto Rican heritage and all of that. So I'm interested to see how it looks this weekend. Is Keyshawn Davis, are the Davis brothers on this card? I'm not sure. But like I said, the main event I think is pretty good. It's another good Saturday night for ESPN. That's the thing. I mean, it's Lomachenko not going to get a lot of trash talk this week. He just wants to make this a business trip, basically. He does well at Madison Square Gardens. He just needs to get a good to excellent performance, get the victory, and then it's a chance for him to get back in the mix. Moving over to the zone on Saturday night too. started with an earlier start time, probably 5, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I don't know what to make of Conor Benn, to be honest with you. I like how they're moving him. I like that. I think this fight against Christopher Algieri is obviously, it's a mutual opponent against somebody like a Spence, somebody like a Pacquiao. And it's a chance to kind of put together the story on what Conor Benn is about. Not having a whole lot, a real or a credible amateur career. Second generation fighter and whatnot. He beat, I don't understand the Samuel Vargas win. He took out Sebastian Formella in pretty good fashion. He's somebody that Eddie Hearn, Matchroom DAZN would love to be somebody, but we just don't know what we're looking at just yet. But I think Algieri, I still kind of regard him as a junior welterweight, more or less. But what I'm looking at in this matchup is when I get a guy who spent a lot of time in the booth commentating on fights, and I'm listening to how the guy breaks down fights, how he predicts fights, and the commentary that he provides during the fights, I get an idea what kind of, how he processes action in the ring. And I know that Chris Algieri, he's done some work as a nutritionist for Daniel Jacobs. He's got a cookbook over here that I have that I never made anything out of, but I bought it. But he's a pretty cerebral guy, we would probably label him. Not the biggest puncher, but can he get the kid in there and running through the paces? He's also another guy who he's not going to get many more meaningful fights either, in all likelihood. So I would expect him to come in here and give the young man a good effort. And, if Ben is able to like I say, Algieri's been in there with Spence, Pacquiao, I can't think of anybody else right off the top of my head. But he's been around. So, if Ben performs well against him and gets the decision, it gives us it's more indication for Eddie Hearn and Matchroom what to do next with the young guy. Obviously, they love to get him on the level of even just an Avenesian would be great. Is it Virgil Ortiz that's looking at Avenesian? Are they lined up for one another, or is it somebody else in there? But obviously, they would like Conor Benn, DAZN, Matchroom Boxing. They would love it if they could get Conor Benn's name in there against Virgil Ortiz Jr., Boots Ennis. That's what they want. That's the ultimate preferred outcome for them. I'll know more Saturday night. Again, Katie Taylor, women's junior welterweight, undisputed champion, taking on somebody I'm not all that familiar with. From what I understand, she doesn't have a lot of experience out of her home country. I believe she's Russian. I haven't looked into her a lot. I think her name is Sharapova. I'm just going to watch the fight. Again, we're all waiting to see if we can get Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano. That's it. I know, Taylor's had a couple of, people we might look at as dead bodies or light touches. I don't know. I don't know what to say. We'll see what this lady does, what this opponent does, and we'll move on. I don't know who else is on that card. It's not the most important card in the world for me. I just want to check out, to see what's coming out of what Ben can deliver, the Destroyer. And I think it's excellent matchmaking. As you're trying to groom this guy and check off these important boxes and build him up, I like what I'm seeing. So that's it. Like I said, a dose of reality. Hopefully this ESPN undercard delivers. I know we do have a Showtime card coming up with Nonito Donaire. Again, I can't even remember his opponent's name. But Donaire is a very interesting fighter since he's come back down in weight and had the war with Inoue. He's a guy to continue to see what he's doing in the ring. And, he's a clean fighter. action-packed guy, heavy-handed at that weight. And it's, we want to see what's next for him. So it's still some good cards out here, before the end of the year. And like I said, man, all of these undercards and they haven't exactly lit up. And I've said this before. The NFL had a problem a few years ago with the Thursday night games were horrible. We get a lot of NBA games throughout the season that, guys might be low management. The star might not even be playing. Or sometimes, a couple of weeks ago, they put the two rookies, the number 1 and 2 picks together in a game. The Pistons against Houston with Jalen Green of the Rockets and Cade Cunningham from the Pistons. Nationally, it might not have had that great appeal to it, but for me as a Detroit Pistons fan, it was an easy chance to turn on ESPN and see what our number 1 pick, how he could what he could do for the team in the future. So boxing just has this, it goes in these ups and it's kind of cyclical. It's up and down with fights that deliver and fights that don't. We've had some some last minute replacements. McCaskill just fought a undisputed champion, and Jessica McCaskill just fought a late replacement against Candy Wyatt. Hergovich fought a late replacement in the dude that he fought. So, this kind of kills the momentum that boxing, coming off of the Camboso situation. We need the next big thing to happen. So maybe maybe we see that in Loma-Commey or Benn in Algieri. Maybe Benn truly announces himself as somebody to watch at welterweight. Look, let me get on off of here, man. Bite Down Boxing. I'll try to get some some content up on www.bitedownboxing.com here in the next day or so. If not, I'll just be talking about the fights over the weekend. But Bite Down Boxing, don't let them count you out. Pay me no mind, sports and entertainment. You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. Enjoy the rest of your day. Peace.